It's right here. I was just checking it.
All right, so we're back at the IEEE Electrical Safety Workshop. This is day 2.
Yeah,
day
I guess
two?
day maybe 1.1.
Day 1.1.
So I don't know. We haven't really started the workshop yet, right? We started
Well,
this
yeah,
afternoon.
so what is today? So today is tutorials, right?
So morning is tutorials, and then afternoon, after lunch, it's the official start or kickoff of ESW 2023.
That's right.
Yesterday was committee meetings, right? So it's still part of the workshop, but we haven't had the official opening yet.
Yeah.
It's not until 1 Pacific time.
Tomorrow.
No,
Or
today, after lunch.
That's right. 1 Pacific. That's right.
So this morning will be tutorials for 4 hours, and then Friday afternoon, the tutorials again for 4 hours.
That's right.
And in between, conference.
Yeah. So are you giving a tutorial today?
Yeah, I'm helping the smart guys. It's not me giving the tutorial. And it's like,
the
just
smart
come,
guys.
yeah. I figured just if I dress up, people may trust what I say. You know, I'm just trying to trick people.
I see.
This is like, I'll just wear a suit.
As long as you're more than 300 miles away and you dress well, you are an expert.
Yeah, I'll keep my like arc flash distance and shock.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
all the boundaries.
We should be practicing our arc flash boundaries.
I'll just keep my boundaries. And if I get a question that I can't answer, this is like a boundary. You can't cross that, but this is like the question boundary.
That's right. So today is tutorials. What tutorials are going on today?
There are 4 tutorials, and I can get you the exact titles of the agenda here. So tutorial number 1 is capacitors, principles, and applications of NFPA 70E-2021. So it's tutorial number 1. Tutorial number 2. Do you want the presenter? I can get you the presenter name.
Just the tutorials.
Okay. And the abstracts, everything is on the website. So if you guys are interested, you can check it out. Tutorial number 2 is electric safety, diffusing the cultural warriors. And then tutorial number 3 is NFPA 70B, which is something.
Oh yeah, who's
dear
doing
and close to your heart.
I think that's
I think Carl, if I remember, Carl.
Carl Cunningham. Yeah, he's on 70B and he's doing a tutorial on 70B.
I believe, yeah. Because I don't have the names here, but I think because I posted everything on the website and I remember seeing his name.
Yeah.
Because I know you're on 70B.
Yeah.
I just went through the whole changing it from
So what he's saying is
recommendation.
70B just became a standard. It went from a recommended practice to a standard. So it went from you could do this, you could do that, to a you shall do this. And it's a point of discussion for especially this forum, because there's a lot of heavy industrials that come to the electrical safety workshop, like your DuPonts of the world, et cetera, and understanding the new requirements on 70B from a maintenance perspective is really critical. So this tutorial is Carl Cunningham, who's on 70B, and hopefully, and if you think about 70B, there's a process on how you use the document, and I'm sure that is what he will be covering. So that's good. That's good.
So it's a 70B, a review of the new maintenance standard. So I guess we're probably covering there exactly what Tom was just sharing, and moving from you could do things versus you shall. It's like a standard language. I guess to complete the triad, right? Like the 70, and 70B.
Yep. Yeah.
I always wondered, where's 70C and 70D? How there's like 70 and then...
Well, I'm trying to get a 70C created.
Cybersecurity.
For cybersecurity, I think that there's so anytime you talk to anybody about cybersecurity, they talk about things like risk, right? You talk about likelihood and severity. What's the likelihood of somebody attacking you from a cyber perspective or hacking your computer, to a severity? Because it may be that, look, the only thing I do with my computer is stream, and if I have to reformat the hard drive, there's no data I'm losing, and they can't really do anything. So my risk is low because, hey, you hack it,
There's nothing there.
You're not going to get anything.
Nothing,
Right. So
it's like someone breaks into your house, and guess what? I just moved out. There's nothing there to steal.
There's nothing there. It's exactly right.
Just break in. Whatever.
I don't care. So now the challenge, though, is when you put requirements in the National Electrical Code, and what do you put in the National Electrical Code? Because then you'll get the discussion of, okay, you're requiring me to do something, and the risk is very low. So why am I required to do this? There's no shock hazard. There's no cybersecurity. If somebody does hack, so what, right? So that's why I think you need a document in the NFPA family of documents that addresses cybersecurity from a risk perspective, and that's what 70E does, and that's what 70B does. So 70E, in fact, you have the hazard, arc flash hazard,
risk assessment,
and then you have your shock.
Hazard,
yeah. So anyway.
Okay, so the last tutorial, which is like, always save the best for last. This is the one I'm helping with. I'm not doing
Oh,
that.
this is your tutorial.
Yeah,
Call it your tutorial.
4. No, the tutorial I'm helping with. I'm not stealing credit from the smart people. So yeah, so tutorial number 4, electric safety management best practices.
Electrical safety management
best practices. And I have the honor of teaming up with Mike Doherty, Lenny Floyd, and Renee Gravis. And you guys met Renee yesterday. She went live with us. So they are the they are the brains. I'm just there. That's why I was talking about dressing up. So
are you saying you're the looks and they're the brains?
I'm not even the looks. It's just like, just wear a suit and pretend that I know what I'm talking about.
All right.
Which you always say that just comes from me. I like you say it comes from here.
It comes out of here.
Comes out of
It
here.
comes from here.
Here.
It comes out of here, but it's all from here.
All from here. Right. I don't enjoy that.
Absolutely.
Over here, and I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone. It's just this guy, whatever this guy's thinking.
And that's another good distinction about this electrical safety workshop. You have a lot of people who work for companies here, right? But we're engineers, for the most part. We're engineers. There's contractors here too.
Technical people.
We're technical people. But what we're speaking on behalf of is ourselves. We're bringing our technical knowledge and our experience to the table and saying, hey, like when we work on standards, and that's I really enjoyed during the standards development yesterday, where we talked about safety by design and things like that. They made a point of it to say, look, you are not you may be representing your company here, but what we put into these documents is really based on your technical knowledge, and it's not what your company wants you to direct you to do. In fact, that's like you would be violating procedures if you.
Besides standard, and this kind of speaks volume too when doing technical presentations. Tom and I are doing a presentation, and you're not allowed to mention even the name of your employer or any other employer, not even yours, during the presentation. You have to be very careful. The presentation slides are reviewed by the technical committee to make sure that there is no
commercialization.
Zero commercialization. There is no tolerance, zero tolerance for anything commercial. The only incident that you would mention your employer's name is your intro slide. This is Tom Dimitrovich Eaton, and this is it. And throughout the rest of the presentation, there's no mention of any employers. Whether it's Eaton or someone else, it's nothing.
Yeah,
which again, it's the same thing. It's just technical. You're doing, and is it 100% bulletproof policy? Of course, every now and then something slips in, which it's like human nature. But it's just I would encourage people not to do that because it's just like it's a branding thing. You build your brand and trust.
This isn't a sales opportunity. It is an opportunity to share what you know, educate, and increase electrical safety.
Yeah, and there's a lot of network opportunities. Like we had the social, like Hospital Suite yesterday, last night. Yeah, and then there's the expo on Wednesday afternoon.
That's right.
I guess Tom's going streaming live.
We're going to be streaming live on Wednesday, so don't forget that Wednesday at.
I think it's like 3 to 5.
3 to 5
I think it's Pacific time.
So that would be like 6 o'clock, starting 6 o'clock Eastern. So it'll be after work. You can be at home and sipping a cup of coffee.
Yeah, relaxing.
And
there'll be a lot of great, I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of traffic and a lot of great people that you can interview.
Oh, yeah.
You're not just going to be me. Like you just get like great people that know what they're talking about, which is awesome. So I mean, I guess my point was mentioning this was, there is a place for technical stuff, and then there's a place for networking and just like having business deals. And because at the end of the day, if your employer is sending you down here, they're expecting some ROI. It's
absolutely.
This is not utopia, right? So, but then there's a place for everything. And which is a good balance. Like I like the mix between like what conference like Electrical Safety Workshop when we presented, when we went live from PCIC back in September. It's the same thing. There are times for technical, strictly technical stuff, and then there are times for
and I was talking to somebody yesterday who made the comment. The papers are great, and watching the technical presentations are great, but it's the people, it's the networking.
I think it was us and Christy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we were just like sitting there.
We were chatting about it.
And I think we all three of us agree that if COVID had proved one thing, it's just, in my mind at least, it proved that we can let go in-person interactions. Because, pre-COVID, people think, there's no need to travel, just do everything virtual and save a lot of money and travel time and so forth. But I think being in lockdown for 2 years kind of showed all of us that
everybody is
we
getting
need
like,
to be out there.
we need to get with each other. We need to chat over the coffee pot. We need to, experience, and there's nothing that can replace. In fact, I had somebody walk up to me and goes, "Hey, can I touch you? Because I can't you are three-dimensional." I'm like, yes, I am, because that's all they do is watch on YouTube.
You're not WebEx or Teams anymore.
Yeah, it's not WebEx or Teams.
It's Zoom, so that people don't.
Or Zoom,
It was crazy, all the platforms that popped up during the last 2 years with COVID. But it's
really good to get back together. There's opportunities here at the workshop to like you said, you have the hospitality room that we had last night. We have the meet and greet sessions.
We have a conference social, so everyone will get together. I think it's tonight. I can't remember.
And then just going to the restaurant. It's like, hey, sit with us, and you have a whole table there.
You know what time I went back to my room last night?
No. What time did you go back to your room?
Am I allowed to say that out public? It was midnight. By the time I got to bed, it was 1 a.m, and I was up at 5, and here I am.
This guy doesn't sleep. Are you a vampire or something?
I'll probably crash by Friday.
I have to get my sleep. I went to bed last night. I think it was around 10:30 or something like that.
Because when you left, I was walking by, and then the gang was in the bar, so I started to hang out with them, and and it was early. Like I remember. Pre-COVID, so before COVID, last ESW that I attended, I couldn't attend last year, was here, same time. So there's a nice bar out like the lobby, and we used to stay there till 1, 2 in the morning.
Wow.
So leaving at midnight was early. I guess it was 1 my time, midnight Pacific, 3 in the morning.
Man, and then we're here early in the morning, and he texts me at 5 o'clock in the morning saying, "Hey, I'm ready, let's go live."
So, I thought I was up at 5. I want to go live at 5. Because Tom's like, when are you going to get up? We're going to meet. Because we're trying to go early because of the time zones.
Yeah, so it is 3 hours. East Coast is 3 hours behind us. Yeah. So that's a big difference. And then so today at 12 o'clock Eastern, IEEE News Live. Don't forget to tune into that. I'm going to be talking. I might have a guest with me. We're going to try to do it somewhere in this hotel, and we're going to talk about 240 volt and below hazards, and I think that really speaks to the electrical, the residential wireman and things of that nature. So if you work in residential applications and you want to think about what are the hazards, there's an IEEE paper that is being presented this week on arc flash at 240 volts and below, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So you're going to want to tune into IAEI News Live today at 12 o'clock Eastern. Please don't forget.
Great.
All right.
That'd be fun. I guess I have to watch it. Record it or
he's going to be doing his tutorial.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you have to get to breakfast. Right?
Well, yeah, I'll have some time, but it's 5 after.
Oh, 5 after? Oh, wow.
That's like an hour. Yeah.
So I tell you what, I got this set up pretty quick. There he is, Mr. Leroy.
We have a guest.
Come on over here. We got another guest.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Oh,
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so Leroy, you and I work on the book, and we upload papers and things like that. So tell everybody who you are.
Okay, Bob Leroy.
Above the cameras or yeah, I know it's confusing because we look at the laptop, but the camera is over.
I'm Bob Leroy. I'm an independent safety consultant and trainer, and I'm not an engineer. I started coming to the ESWs in 2012. Really for networking back then, but my background is in the field. I've been an electrician for over 50 years, went up through a lot of apprenticeships, was a contractor for a while, worked about 25 years in power generation, and then went into training and consulting back about 2005 because of a couple incidents that I had to respond to on the power plant, to electrocutions at really very low voltage, and really made me passionate about safety.
Yeah.
And what I find here at the ESW, I was thinking this morning, if I ended up, catching up with you guys, how I could kind of characterize this. But a lot of times we use equipment and we just go up, press a button, we pull a handle. And we don't realize all the design, all the work it took for me to do that job so simply. And many times when we're out there, we're trying to manage our crews. We're trying to manage even ourselves out there on the job sites. We don't realize really what it takes for us really to be able to go home safely. So what the ESW provides is not just the engineering function. It's good to hear what are some of the newer things that are being built.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
I need to, if I'm out there talking to folks, hey, be on the look out for this, look out for that, for good companies like this. But how can we actually get folks to really be able to look at themselves before they do this job and say, am I really ready to do it?
Yeah. There's a lot of like, I think, and 70E just added some information about your mindset when you're getting into a project. That am I just pressing a button, or is there a little bit more to what I'm doing, right?
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
And, you know, that's something that Bob just mentioned, what I guess resonates to me is I really like about ESW is the relationship that you built over the years. Because if, let's say, I need to know what's the latest and greatest product that Eaton has, I can just pick up the phone and call my buddy Tom, right? If I need to know something like in the field, I'm an engineer, right? But I need this like field hands-on experience, I can just, hey, Bob, how can you deal with this? What's the standard practice? That's something that I don't get exposed with. So just expanding your professional network, being able to reach out to experts in their field and learn from them. And, you know, when you face a problem, I'm sure someone else had faced the same problem, and they
It's all about networking.
Yeah, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can just call Tom or Bob, and they just give me their experience and help me, not to go through the same hoops that they had to go through to jump.
It's really kind of a holistic group of folks that come to the ESW.
Yeah.
Honestly, the first time I came, I felt like a fish out of water. Going to an engineering type of a conference, if you will. I'm an associate member of IEEE because I'm not a degree person. Okay, I've got a lot of experience, and maybe I should have sat for a few tests, but no, it just wasn't the avenue that I wanted to take. So when I'm talking to crews today, when I'm talking even in training and to companies, I kind of use that same fire triangle that NFPA uses.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start out with a knowledge base. So we've got training that needs to happen for engineers, training needs to happen for the field workers. Okay, but add on to that knowledge base their skills and experience. So kind of relating to what you're saying, a lot of folks have gone through what we've had to go through. We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
But if you don't have the foundation of the proper rules, the proper guidance, the electrical safety programs. And what I find at ESW is all three of those are very well represented here.
That's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Where if there's an issue with a company that maybe I need to have my electrical safety program just looked at, there's at least, I would say, 20 or 30 companies perhaps that are here. I know at least a half.
At the expo, I think there's 40 or 40 plus.
Okay, sure.
At the expo.
The equipment, what's coming on. We got a part of the
and then there's the experience. You have yourself who does education, works with contractors or businesses, and then you see the hazards. And then you bring that to these events, and it's the conversations. You don't need to be up on a stage. It's the conversations we have where you learn just hanging out in the hallways.
That's why I stay up till 1 in the morning.
I think there's something else behind that one.
Well, okay.
a lot of hospitality going on.
Yeah, a lot of us.
Well, there's a nice bar down in the lobby, and everyone is hanging
But I
out.
was a good boy. I went to bed. Jeez, man.
Well, but the other cool thing too is, it's the which I guess you said that your first ESW was 2021, Bob. Mine was 2012. Sorry,
2012.
Mine was 2013. 2013 was my first time ever. So I guess this is technically my 10th anniversary. Although I skipped last year because of the border closure, with Omicron, whatever. But the one thing I really liked is passion, and you can hear this from Bob. So we talk about like he had an incident, like he experienced throughout his career when he started, and it drove him to come here. Lanny Floyd talks about this a lot, like his dad, and so there's a story behind every person attending this workshop, and it just drives their passion. So there's a whole group of passionate people that they're willing to help you.
Yeah.
They're not expecting anything in return other than just this is just safety, their passion, whatever they experience, like an incident when like early in their career or whenever it happened, they just don't want to see it happening to someone else.
That's right.
Which I really like. It's
very
great.
interested in expanding, because I was in Marcelo Valdez's committee for international, and there is a huge need in other countries for forums like this that are just about talking about safety, talking about, you're like charging, it's like getting a shot, it's like that little shot of energy boost, that's got to last you for the year. You come to an event like this, you share experiences, you learn, and then you go back to your facilities and you want to spread that around. So we need to do this in other countries.
And you know,
as
the
well.
other cool thing I like about ESW specifically, it's the depth and the variety of attendees. Because sometimes you go to a conference and nothing, like I'm not bashing academia, but it's an academic conference. Or sometimes it's a trade show. But here you have manufacturers, you have academics, you have like experienced, very well experienced people, like hands-on, like years of experience, trainers. You have, I guess, HJs, right, like inspectors and enforcers. So you get a mix of consultants, engineers.
Wes Wheeler is here. He's head of safety for NECA.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you have the VP from NECA who's in charge of safety for all of their members, and I saw him.
And there's
last night.
a few government people, like DOE people and the Los Alamos, like all the national labs. So like you get pretty much everyone that you would need to have on your network.
And the other opportunities in ESW are not just the standards committees, but the working groups, the subcommittees.
I know.
I'm part of the construction subcommittee. And we were talking yesterday, and there's likely going to be some proposals for papers or whatever for next kid. Well, why is the construction industry still having the majority of the accidents and fatalities? Why is that? Majority of what they're working on is de-energized, but as soon as that power gets into that facility, the game changes.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And you know, we had the discussion yesterday about how your safety plan, your what do you call it? Your work plan, your assessment, your risk assessment,
and
your risk assessment changes while you're working. If you think about it, like somebody mentioned, they said, well, what happens if there's an outage while you're doing an energy, or you open up your toolbox and the tools that you were going to use, maybe there's the wrong tool in there, or the tool's in bad shape and you realize it's in bad shape. Right. That is a safety assessment plan that you have to do.
And the electrical safety program of the company has to give the worker permission to make that a stop in their moving forward into work.
Exactly.
So many clients that I work with, we have put into their electrical safety programs as a recommendation. You got construction going on, very minimal type of hazards there. But as soon as power comes on, that's a stop work for the crew. We're going to have a reassess. We're going to advise everybody of what's going on. If we don't do that, the mindset is always, oh, I really don't have this great hazard. And the only way we keep a hazard from becoming a danger is to put controls in place. And the workers focused on getting this job done and going home. You know, you got to give them not just the format and the guidelines, but also the permission. Say, it's okay, we're going to pause here, we're going to have as a team, we're going to simply talk about how the hazards have changed and then get right back to it.
And I guess it speaks to training. You have to be competent doing your job. Like my little analogy is sports team, right? Before the game, you can study your opponent as much as you can and just have all those tactics and playbook, right? But once you start the game, things are different. And the coaches and managers of each can do whatever, you know, all the training, teaching before the game starts. But once the players are on the field, they have to adjust based on what's happening during the game. So it's just kind of same thing. When you're on a job, I mean, I'm an engineer and don't do hands-on, unfortunately, I wish. But I really like all the technical stuff or like more of the abstract things or whatever, theoretical. But when you're hands-on, sometimes things happen like just like at a job that were not expected. And I guess you need to be able, just like in the game, you need to be able to adjust, maybe pivot and do things differently without exposing yourself to a hazard or like risking, you know, your life.
And then sometimes it's not like a game where you say, look, time out, because things have changed. We need to fall back and regroup and take whatever time we need. Because the goal line, it's, you know, there's no, in some cases, I mean, we put timing on ourselves. We have deadlines and all of that good stuff. And then when you take a facility, there's pressure with, I need to get this plant back up and running because we need to be making money. I'm going to get yelled at my manager because I didn't, you know, we had to, we said we were going to take one day, now it's going to take two. And there's a lot of pressures that are placed on our electrical workers to try to get things done faster.
And you know, if you remember, like last year, because I virtually, Mike Doherty and I had a paper on human performance tools, and one of the, I think, the tools that spoke to me, like, again, I don't do life work, I'm an engineer, but it's like, you stop when uncertain. And this is one of the things, like when you're working on something, when you're not sure, just stop.
Just stop.
Just take a step back or a couple steps back and maybe just go back to the planning board. Yeah, this is the problem because you're under stress.
How many case stories have we heard in the years we've come here where that's exactly what they didn't do?
Yeah.
You know, they just pushed right through it. And I guarantee you, when an accident happens,
There's someone
Job
who's
is work
tired
stopped.
or yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Work
You'll,
is done.
and you'll stop for a lot longer period of time than what it could have taken to just get your head back in the game.
And the suffering and pain for years is just sometimes
absolutely.
incalculable.
Yeah, it's just the severity is too high to
Yeah.
take a
Yeah.
chance on
Yeah.
it. I guess it's
I guess the other
because it's
thing-
your life or your member of your crew's life. It could be because someone can do something that doesn't hurt them, but it would hurt someone else on the crew or someone. When you're like, the lockout tag out thing, like the stories that you hear, someone just kind of decide to turn a breaker, and then the poor guy was working down there thinking that it was de-energized, and all of a sudden he just gets shocked because someone else didn't follow the lockout tag out
right.
procedure. So yeah, sometimes we do things. It's just not directly impacting us, but it could impact somebody else. It could be like a life-changing for them.
I guess the other couple of things I might add about the ESW is I'm coming from the end user standpoint, the field end user. It's not just targeting me. It's not just targeting engineers. The technical committee, the organizing committee, puts a group of papers together with everybody in mind.
Yeah.
So in the general sessions, there is information that is just applicable really on every level.
Yeah,
It's a benefit from the top down.
and this is a really good point that I was just mentioning because it reminded me. I heard a few papers over the years, and I presented one myself on electric hazard or on non-electrical people. Like I heard stories. Like I remember one.
Yeah, you don't have to be in the electrical industry.
It's not just
to get
electrical.
hurt.
You can be like, I heard, this is kind of my go-to story. It's kind of crazy story. Dennis Neitzel, if you guys remember him. Dennis is a great guy. If he's watching us, hi Dennis. I don't think he's here this week. Dennis and Brenda as well, they're the best. I love them. Anyways, Dennis was talking because he did a lot of training, and probably you guys remember Dennis. And one of the craziest stories that he mentioned was an electric shock in an office setup. Like I think it was an admin person. And apparently what happened was she was wearing like something like a jewelry with like some like all this like little things dripping, and she reached over to plug or unplug something. So the gold reached like it just contacted the plug, and she got a shock while sitting at her desk. She didn't even leave her desk.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like it was like a bad shock, and just like right here. So it's just like reaching out, doing something, and then her jewelry contacted electricity. I think it was like a power bar or something on her desk, and she got a shock.
Wow.
So like the hazard is there. Like what's the likelihood of this happening?
Oh, yeah.
It's not very high.
Yeah.
But it could happen. If it happened once, it probably could happen.
It could happen again.
right?
And there are a lot of instances of kids who, like, especially if and this goes back to some of the commercial and industrial guys. You could tell who wired a structure if the ground pin is up or the ground pin is down,
Yeah,
right?
well, this is
Because
like
they'll give you those examples of something falling on on a plug that's plugged into a receptacle, and they create a fault, right? And I had a parent send me an email with a picture of his son, and he had a Band-Aid on his cheek. He was a cute little kid. He had a Band-Aid on his cheek, and a picture of a set of keys and a receptacle. And what he did was he was just sitting on the floor. He had his dad's keys, and he was putting the keys behind the receptacle, the plug. And the AFCI tripped on him, and that was the source of the email saying thank you, because I mean, if he wouldn't have had that protection, that child would have caused that fault, and he was holding on to the key at the time, so he would have really got.
It's like a short circuit.
Yeah,
like
he created a
short circuit.
That's exactly
Pretty
right.
much, yeah. It's just like
GFCI wouldn't have
going
picked
to
it up.
ground. Yeah, I guess depending whichever device picked it up first, but it's like a. It's like he's bonding to ground. Pretty much.
I was like, wow, but I still have those photos, But and every now and then you look at it and you say, that's what we're here, not just for those in the electrical industry. We're here for just about anybody who's using electricity.
So Tom, I'm curious now. What's your opinion about the plug? Because you had this question in one of your videos recently. I think when you were in Germany, and you didn't just share your opinion. Like, I wonder what Tom thinks about this. And I'll tell you what I was told. Like again,
in my opinion, it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter to me. I know some contractors will say if I talk to a commercial or an industrial guy, they always put that pin up. The residential guys will put the pin down. But even in the resi world, I know some electricians who will, anything that is a switched receptacle, they put the ground pin the other way. They put everything one way in the house, whether it be up or down, and they'll put the switched receptacle the other way. so you know exactly which ones are a switch receptacle. I thought that was really kind of cool. You know?
I didn't know that.
And probably no one tells the homeowner.
Yeah, I did not know. I didn't
But as a
hear.
good example, the National Electrical Code is a minimum standard.
Yeah.
So you get other specialty codes like hospital codes, those
Oh, yeah.
dealing, life safety codes. They're going to get much more specific.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because
And even-
there are some other codes that would require that to be up.
Is that right?
In the occupancy.
Interesting.
It's been a while.
Is it up or down? I can't remember. I think back in the day, an electrician told me, he was like a really smart guy, but might be wrong. But I think he said he goes with the ground pin down. So when you unplug or if something falls,
one.
it's the last thing to disengage. So you're always having this grounded connection. So it's like, it made sense to me. But I mean, there's the two arguments. Like,
Everybody
I don't
has a
know.
good argument.
You go
I'd love
up or
to
go
hear the
down.
debate.
That's like,
Yeah.
I kind of like the down thing because when he told me, like when something falls or you try to unplug, the ground is always the last pin to, I guess, disengage. So you're always grounded. Yeah. And so I know some design, they have like the ground pin like longer.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of the first one in,
Yeah.
the last one out. I think the mining, they do this. I remember when I think my previous life was working for a manufacturer with like mining cables. I think their blocks are designed to have the ground pin longer. So it goes in first, makes the first contact, and then when you disengage, it's the last one out because it's longer than the other
All
two
I know
prongs.
is it's a pain in the rear end when it's changed in one facility when you're used to either the ground pin being up or down, and then you go to plug something in because we do a lot of things blind, right? And you're pushing and you push, and then you realize, oh my gosh, they put this one the other way.
And it becomes even more, it gets more fun when you go to a different country. Here's like a whole video, it's like
Yeah.
going to Europe. Or,
Yeah,
just-
that was a chore.
Where's my converter?
The incident like what you related with that young man
Yeah.
was a substantiation in the National Electrical Code about 5 cycles ago for tamper-resistant receptacles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, there was a study that was done over 10 years, 27,000 young men and women, little kids,
Putting things in
were
there.
in emergency rooms because of that.
Yeah.
So it's an example of maybe there's a reason we can do some things proactively. You get minds together like this, and we got to affect our industry.
Absolutely.
And it's like, yeah.
ESW is
And a big part of a big part of ESW is like advanced safety training, and that's why we're doing tutorials and education. I can't remember many a couple of years ago. You know all the challenges that show up on like TikTok and YouTube and all those kind of crazy things. One of them was the penny challenge. So you kind of have a penny and just kind of short.
Really?
But yeah, I remember reading something, and some kids got
Not that
shocked.
I want you to do
Yeah.
any of that.
You know, like this is like the opposite. We're trying to educate people. And you have like young kids just doing a challenge. Someone decided to, this is cool. I'm just gonna, I guess, bend this penny and just kind of.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
I think it was a penny challenge. I have to look it up, but I remember reading about it, and some kids were shocked. And you know how the kid, I'm going to challenge you to do this, and they just do it.
Let's challenge each other to do safe things.
Yeah, not doing the rest.
Put GFCIs in when you're not required to put GFCIs in. Take care of the cords, all of your appliances. There's so many things that we can do just to increase safety in a dwelling unit.
Everywhere.
Day-to-day.
And Bob had a really good point. And I used to mention this all the time in my presentation back in there. I still do, not often. But the NEC, the Canadian courses, I'm Canadian, they're the minimum requirement. Nothing is stopping you as a professional from going over and beyond to make sure that it is safe and things are, like better. But because some people, unfortunately, think if they stick to the code, they're good. But this is not the case.
Right.
Because sometimes as a professional safety expert, engineer, whatever your job is, you're required to, I guess, do your risk assessment, and you can go above and beyond the code or the standard that you're using just to ensure it's safe. Because the one thing that I also said, you don't want to be standing at the court, something bad happens, and just trying to talk before the jury and the judge and just say, I just followed the minimal requirement.
Yeah.
Because lawyers would just
Yeah, you want to
Rip you
go.
apart.
You want to do everything you can. When we recognize hazards, we learn the basics, the fundamentals, and when you know there's a hazard, we need to make the right decisions. And I think you said it right. This is a culture, right? We're trying to change the industry. And you're changing a culture takes many years.
Takes time,
Many
yeah.
years to get people to do the right things when people aren't looking, right? It's not because an inspector is coming. It's, I'm going to do this right thing, and I know it's right. And no one's going to see me do it. No one's going to check to make sure I did it, but I'm going to do it. And it's because I know it's the right thing
It has
to
to
do.
be instilled in you, like just driven by passion. I know you love dogs, because Tom has like 2 dogs. That's like, this is like, there's a saying that says,
Jake and Maggie.
teach an old dog a new trick kind of thing.
Yeah.
It takes time. It's hard. I mean, you can still teach your dog
Well,
something.
Jake is very smart.
We're going to fit in.
Jake is very smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does my taxes every
Well,
year.
I'm not gonna pick on Maggie or Jake, but I know Tom because I know Tom shows like I think a few times you had your dogs on live videos or pictures. I
Couple
remember seeing,
times,
yeah,
not much because Maggie she's a looker, so and Jake just lays on the couch. I'd have to take the camera to the couch.
Well,
Jake don't come to the camera.
the boss.
The camera has to go to Jake.
well, this is the boss behavior. Attitude. I'm a boss. People come to me. I don't go to people.
Beautiful. All right, so
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
sure, I
to share with
appreciate you stopping by, and we're gonna close up the shop, I guess, and these guys are gonna get
We have,
started.
like,
You
good
missed
people.
breakfast. We got Lanny right here.
We need to get Lanny.
We need to get
do
Lanny
live for us.
on camera.
He is the guy.
Time. I'm going to back out.
Thanks, Ron.
See you guys.
Well,
the rest
thank
of the
you,
week.
yeah.
Enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Rod.
Morning, sir.
Good to see you.
So Lanny Floyd.
Bless you, man.
So I guess
Oh, leave it on, brother.
I guess Lanny is one of the founding fathers of ESW. So
I mean, most people know this. I'm in the witness protection.
so Lanny, the camera's right here, like the cell phone.
Yeah,
So
cell phone's the camera.
Thanks, Bob.
All right.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How
this
is?
morning.
Lanny is
Good
the
to see you.
expert. Lanny, great to see you. Always learning from you all the time.
Oh, she's doing great.
Good.
We were just out there a couple of weeks ago to visit her and our son-in-law.
Excellent. Excellent. So we're live.
We're talking
and
about
we're
electric
live on a
safety
few different
workshop
channels,
and-
talking about the electrical safety workshop, and we were
it's-
just about to close up,
here.
and you walked in.
This is amazing. I mean, this is our 31st year. It's been a great journey as we've influenced the evolution of electrical safety in various ways. We'll see changes in standards, changes in equipment and designs. We'll see at the expo.
Oh, yeah.
Just the culture. I mean, our mission is to change the electrical safety culture, to advance the culture. And certainly there have been other forces to helping us push that. But certainly the workshop has been one of the forces that have influenced a lot of change over the last quarter century.
Yeah. And we were just talking about how ESW, changing a culture takes many years. It takes many years.
It
And
does. And, we're just a small piece of the huge electrical community, and it's not just the electricians. Electricity is everywhere. We live in an electrical society, and so the potential exposures are everywhere in our homes, at work, even out on the playgrounds, in our children's schools. And so and that exposure continues to grow. I mean, we have more and more electrical things that we're using. We're getting ready to move in. We're rapidly moving into EVs, electrical vehicles, and the charging stations and the vehicles themselves. All of those are great advancements in technology, but they come with the negative concern, or not the negative, but the concerns for risk. That for people who are using them, the people who install them, people who maintain them. So this challenge of pushing the envelope on electrical safety gets an ongoing issue, and something we need to stay at.
And the more we have electricity out there, the more we're using it, like you're saying, it just presents more opportunities and different types of hazards. Like you mentioned, batteries on vehicles, they present challenges. You can't shut a battery off. You can disconnect from the circuit, but that battery's got a lot of energy in it, and it's going to spend it when you give it the opportunity.
And it's DC versus AC, because for 100 years we're using AC, right?
And the batteries present an exposure to the hazardous electrical energy that we've never really had at this magnitude before, because the manufacturing process of batteries presents high energy exposures. And so most of the manufacturers that are assembling the components of batteries are doing it with robotics to keep people away from that manufacturing process. So it's an example. I'm sure we'll see more of that in the traditional industrial side. We're already seeing it, with the remote racking mechanisms, that sort of thing. That's an example of of applying a robotic type device to remove people from the exposure.
Right. And you know, robots are people too.
We don't want to hurt the robot.
Yeah, soon they will with the AI. They'll be like,
With
be
the
humans.
AI,
Yeah.
some of them are. I mean, a robot. I love this. When you go online, sometimes a robot will tell you, "I need to confirm that you're a human."
Yeah, you know, like,
Yeah.
Maybe one day they'll be smarter than we are. But, I
you
don't,
know, like the science
don't know
fiction
about
movies
that.
when they just take over the world and we enslave humanity.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, again, this is really exciting being here at the
USW.
workshop in Reno. We got a tremendous group of folks here, a wide cross section of people from different. I call them stakeholders in electrical safety.
Absolutely.
We have engineers, electricians, we have professors, we have research people, we have the equipment manufacturers, designers, we have standard developers, all coming from a different perspective. But a common touch point is looking for ways to reduce risk for electrical injury and fatality.
Yeah.
no, it's great.
That's absolutely right.
Hey, it's really good to
So,
see you.
Danny, before you leave and before we close, I would like to make an announcement. We just had a change in the Outstanding Service Award for ESW. Now, as of this year, it will be renamed after Lanny Floyd. So, it'll be Lanny Floyd Outstanding Service Award. Congratulations, Lanny.
Congratulations.
Very well deserved.
Very well
I'm
deserved.
very, very happy that this is happening and like we're witnessing. It's an honor, at least for me, that to witness this happening for all what you've done. And this, I just wanted to share
It
this.
is quite an honor for me personally. I've worked with some very passionate people here, two of them right here, on advancing the electrical safety culture, and the work that y'all contribute to making this effort successful. It's not just your technical expertise that you bring and share, but also just helping with the logistics and making this a positive experience for all of the attendees. That's what the Outstanding Service Award is really about, is the people who have given above and beyond to help make this whole thing work and achieve its mission.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, Lenny, it was great because I know you published an article in a magazine, it's like the history of ESW.
Yes, we did
and
that last year.
yeah, and you presented as a PCIC. It's in the magazine, and there's a link on the Electric Safety Committee website.
Right,
I guess we can share it because it's open to public. But it's just amazing to read the story. And I remember the first ESW ever meeting, like 6 people. Lenny was one of them, and David Pace, right? And great people that unfortunately I hear about them all the time. Read their
Great
articles.
things
Never
start small.
I didn't have the honor to meet them, unfortunately, because it was before my time. But it was just amazing to listen to Lenny's story with the progression from 6 people in a room, and the trailblazers to what we have today. We have like 500 plus
Over 500
attendees.
people today.
So like Lenny and this core group did an amazing job from like 6 people in a room. And now at what this is like 31st anniversary, right? For East 31st, right? We have like 500 plus people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And we're growing. And it's still
Success.
growing. It's
Okay.
just an amazing story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lenny,
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. We're going to have to wrap up.
Yeah, and have to join the smart guys for the
Yeah.
tutorial. I'm just going to be learning from Lenny and Mike and Renee.
All right, we're going to hit stop streaming. So thanks for joining. Remember, tomorrow at the Eaton booth.
Yeah. And we're doing we're going live tomorrow morning as well, right? To
Yeah,
just update
every day.
everyone. Yeah.
Going live.
Just, yeah.
All right. Take care. Stay
Good
safe.
day,
and
everyone.
please
Stay safe.